the early sort of preview about what's to come, because obviously right now the conversation is about Thomas Frank and our Tottenham. Is he up to scratch? Is he a Tottenham type of manager? But before we get to that, we have to obviously diagnose exactly what happened yesterday. I just want to start, guys, with the team news and the formation, right? So we started out with Vicario. Obviously, we went to a back three. Danso played on the right hand side of the three. Romero in the middle, and Mickey van der Ven on the left. He went with Destiny Udogie and Jed Spence on the right hand side. Double pivot, about as deep as you could possibly imagine, in Polinia and Bentancur. And the top three, I'm not sure if I don't know. I don't even know where Odegaard was supposed to be playing. I'm not even sure if it was like a 3-4-1-2 or if it was a 3-4-3, whatever it was a shambles. But it was Odegaard and it was Kudus and, of course, our man Richie. Stell, I'll start with you, mate.
Just go in.
Were you... What's that?
Go to me first. Let's just go.
Well, no, we'll probably get into the heavyweight stuff. I just want to kind of just figure out whether or not I've been speaking a lot about this today with various people, but I haven't heard your take. Were you happy with the idea of going to a back three? Were you relatively satisfied with the team sheet, the team, before we saw what was on display, just the way we were going to set up?
Sure. I just want to get the elephant out of the room first before we begin and just tell everyone, because we're going to get there at some point. I just want to land it now. I actually don't care. Sorry?
Is that room big enough for an elephant?
We're going to find out. I actually don't care if we keep Frank or not. I don't. That's where I'm at now. I'm Ange, don't care. I'm not Ange. Frank. I'm not Frank.
What's a faux pas? Faux pas.
You know what? It's on my mind because every argument or debate today, people just bring up Ange as like the go-to. If I bring up Ange, I can deflect away from what's happening now. I'm Frank. I don't care. If he stays, he stays. If we change him this month, we change him this month. I no longer care. That's where I'm at with it. I still give him the year. Let's see what he does. But if we do change him, it doesn't bother me in the slightest anymore. With the starting lineup in terms of tactics, I need to make this very, very clear to everyone who's watching, especially Perchy. Yes, you, Perchy. We did not go to a back three. Frank, in his post-match press conference, said he played a back five. There's a massive difference. The difference is a back three, you play with fullbacks that push up high, and you play with one or two players that sit in front, ideally two, so that if the counter-attack comes down the flanks, one of the centre mids, holding mids, shifts over to cover the space, and the other holding mid shuffles over to intercept the winger if he inverts. We did not do that. We played with fullbacks that barely crossed the halfway line. If a fullback did cross over the halfway line like the Udogie, you bet Spence held his position to go into a back four. And if we were to play a back three, you would have played Porro, who is the best wing back at getting forward. Not the best defender, the best one at getting forward. So we didn't do any of that. And the way we played showed that. So we went to a back five. There's a big difference. Am I happy we went to a back five? Absolutely not. No, sure, I'm not. Because what that said to me was, as soon as we stepped onto that pitch, we waved the white flag. We surrendered before kickoff. The tactics were a surrender message to Arsenal saying, we have no intent of scoring. We have no intent of even trying to lay a glove on you. We have no intent of coming here to try and do anything. You just come and have a go. You just come at us as much as you like, and we hope that we can absorb it. We hope that we can contain you. And it catastrophically backfired. You can have poor players. You can have a poor bench. You can have a team that isn't going to do the business on the day. But you don't quit before the game. Don't go into the game saying, we're not even going to give it a go. And that's exactly what we did with those tactics. If Mourinho or Conte did that, people would be asking them to be hanged. They'd be asking for murders of those two managers. Yeah, we went there saying, yeah, do what you want, Arsenal. And they did. They did exactly what they wanted. Look, like I said, you can have a poor group of players, you can have an average bench, but you don't ever go into a game playing not to lose. There's no point turning up then. And what I'll say about it is this. The worst manager I've ever seen, ever, at Spurs. Johnny and Lubo will know better because they've lived longer, they've seen more Spurs games, they've seen more than me. But in my lifetime, the worst manager I've seen was Christian Gross.
Yeah, he probably. Was a joke. Yeah, I would. Although I've seen more managers, I would have. It would be a struggle for me to disagree with that. What about you, Luke?
Me, honestly, Postecoglou by a mile.
That's the deflection angle. We've got to go there. Okay, all right. Do you know what? I'm speaking for me. Poch is Andrew's the worst manager ever. Planting the seeds. I get it. We're planting the seeds. Christian Gross was the worst manager I've ever seen. The team he had was dog shit. 2 North London derbies, he got 2 draws. He at least gave it a go. I've never seen a Spurs team ever go into a North London derby, even if we know we're not going to win, not even try, man. For me, it's unforgivable. Unforgivable.
It's not just this one, though, still, right? Like, what are the 2 biggest derbies for Tottenham fans?
Yeah, well, off the back of Chelsea, he did it
Chelsea
again.
as well, right?
Off the back of Chelsea, he did it again.
Chelsea at home.
But we're going to get into it deeper, but just because you asked me about this game.
Yeah.
He just walked in there and waved the white flag. And especially when you said before the game, he's got a habit now of saying things before games and doing the opposite. I know how important this game is. We're going to play high tempo. Just stop talking. Like, Frank, honestly, stop talking before games and just go and do the best you can on the match day. And that's where I'm at with it. And it's not just because of this game I've now pivoted to, I don't care whether he stays or go. This has been building up for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'll wrap up what I'm going to say. Every week I come on this show and I say, we're not resilient. We're not this good defensive side. We've been getting lucky. We've been getting carved open in so many games. We are much more wide open than what people are describing. We are going to get a thrashing sooner or later because this luck is going to run out. And every week I get pushback.
I think we had it yesterday, didn't we? We had a thrashing.
Yes. Yesterday has been coming for weeks, Johnny, because the misrepresentation of what's really been going on, pretty much every game bar 3 games this season. Mate, we're not this solid defensive great team people make out to be. And if you think I'm wrong, 12 games last season, we conceded less goals. 12 games last season.
Okay, let's cherry pick, right? Because if you're going to
I'm comparing like for like. 12 games.
12 games before he had his injuries, and now we're comparing it to the 12 games where he's had all his injuries, right? We can all cherry pick because that's what.
Okay. The flip side, all of Frank's signings, all of his signings were fit yesterday to play. All of them, his signings.
They were all fit, were they? If you think Colin Mawani was fit, mate, he was wearing a Superman fucking mask. I mean, like
Harry Kane played
Hannibal Lecter, wasn't it?
Hannibal Lecter. At the end of the day, no one can.
People don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear it, Johnny. That's what it is. People are so scared of hearing it.
It's not a case of scared of hearing it. There were people with an agenda before a ball was kicked this season, right? Whether you want to hear that or people want to hear that or not, right? There were people who were mightily pissed off that that Ange got sacked and Thomas Frank got a job.
This has got nothing to do with Ange. I'm judging Frank and what Frank's doing. This isn't about Ange. You're making it about Ange. You and Lubo are taking it down the Ange pathway, and I knew you were going to do this. It's got nothing to do with that.
Let Johnny land first, and then we can come back and forth.
All right.
Right. You made me lose my train of thought, to be truthful with you now.
You were talking about Ange Postecoglou, Johnny.
You're talking about Ange.
No, I'm saying that there were people with agendas before the season started. I'm not going to sit here and defend that performance last night or defend the performance against Chelsea because it's unacceptable, right? Okay? But I'm not going to listen to people who just come in and jump on every defeat and pray for defeat, right? I want my team to win come what may. I don't give a shit who the manager is. I don't care who the manager is. We all know, Stel, that wasn't good enough last night. We all know that there's plenty wrong. We all know that it's far from perfect, right? But we also know, before the season started, we were all complaining. The attack's not good enough. The midfield's not good enough, right? We all said it. We all said it. And with all the injuries, it's even worse than what we thought it was going to be. And yet, we're supposed to do something magical. It doesn't excuse that shit performance yesterday because, as I said to Sean in the morning and I posted on our group, we were playing with the back five. I knew we were going to play with the back five, right? I wasn't happy that we were going to play with the back five, but I knew that was what we were going to start. And then I'm thinking to myself, do they really
hang on. Back five or back three? Because I
said back five. If you look.
I know you did. I've never thought of it. I've never distinguished between the two that way. Like I 100% hear the logic of like a back five is just like the wing backs are defensive and versus the back three. I've just always called it a back three.
No, listen. I hear where you're coming from because in my head, I thought I've misunderstood. We're practicing. We're going to play with a back five. I'm thinking you must mean a back three where the wing backs push forward, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't take me very long. It took me about 3 minutes to work out. No, in fact, it is a back five, and our wing backs aren't going forward. Look, I don't really know what to say, Stel, because I'm not going to sit here and defend the indefensible, right? All I'm asking for here is that can we really talk about sacking the manager after 3 months or 4 months when really a lot of what's happened here is a lot of it's out of his hands in its early stages. I mean, if it carries on like this, there's no way out for him, right? And, when you make some of the comments that you've made, okay, when you say, we need to be aggressive, right? And you're not aggressive. And you say we need to go out and attack, better to try and find, and you don't do any of those things, right? Then questions are going to be asked. But I say, right, everyone, I said it earlier on Sean's show, right? Everyone needs to take a slice of the blame pie. That's the manager. That's all the players, not the odd one, right? And the recruitment team. I don't think our recruitment is anywhere near where it should have been. I don't think the manager has done what he should have been doing. And I don't think these players have done anything like they should have done in these two derbies. They should not need to have a motivational speech to understand. They've been at the bloody club long enough to know what it means to play Arsenal and Chelsea, right? We saw against Sunderland last week when Arsenal played them. They didn't know Arsenal, but what did they have? They had fight, they had determination. They wanted to win every single ball. They didn't give up on anything, right? Whereas yesterday, we had Arsenal wanted every throw-in, every second ball, every first ball, every third ball. They didn't want to lose anything, not throw-in, nothing. We didn't fight for anything. It was like Alan Carr fighting Tyson Fury. That's what it was like. Powder puff. It was embarrassing. And like I said, I've never left the game after 73 minutes. I was disgusted when I walked out of that stadium. So I'm not here to defend it, but I'm just asking for some common sense here to understand, yes, we're not happy. Yes, it's not good enough. But there are things that are, I believe, that are affecting it and need to be addressed.
Okay, fair enough. Good start. Let me just get Lubo.
Sorry, Sean, can I just say one thing to Johnny? Just one thing.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Lubo. When you say the players have got to fight and self-motivate and whatnot, when you send out a group of players and you say your job is to defend for your lives and that's it, they did that for 35 minutes really, really well. But when you have to do that for 90 minutes, there's only so many punches you can take before one of them knocks you out. There's only so much pressure you can handle before a pipe bursts. They literally fought for their lives really, really well for 30 minutes. But because of the way they were set up, Johnny, wait, because of the way they were set up, eventually something landed that they couldn't deal with. No one can sit there and park a bus for 90 minutes. They tried their best, and then once it went to 1-0, we now have to try and do something different.
Still, with the greatest respects, right? With the greatest respect, yes.
For 30 minutes, we were good. We were good defensively.
I don't think we were good.
For 30 minutes.
No, defending, Sean, defending.
Yeah, okay. But they
had a chance in the third minute that if it wasn't for a worldie save, we would have been 1-0 down in the third.
Okay, other than that one moment.
Richarlison in that second half, I was saying to Sean, he's come across and he's screaming at defenders. He's
the
pressing.
Second half.
Hang on. He's pressing and he's pressing and he's pressing. And no one's there pressing him. Xavi Simons comes on, right? He's lost the ball and he's trotting. He's got no press. He's not doing a thing.
Johnny, the game was gone. The game was gone after that. 2-0, it was over.
No, come on. That's defeated.
No.
I'm not hearing that. That's bullshit.
Arsenal conceded 1 goal at home all season. At 2-0, it was done.
So, Johnny, just press pause. But we've got another hour and 40 minutes to get more into it. But I want to get Lubo's initial take on the on the strategy. Right, the question was around the formation. Was it right to go to a back five? Again, just to be clear, I assumed the same thing, right? A back three, back five. I assumed that going into that system, you're going to be able to at least try and get some sort of value out of the fullback, out of the wing backs. Yeah. We didn't do it. Just quickly, to me, preface this to you, Lubo. Specifically, you score. Everton has taken the lead. Interesting. You get the you go to that back three and back five, right? So everyone's super deep. You still have two of the most defensive midfielders that we've got that's fit in Polinia and Bentancur that are sitting in front, and yet they still offered up throughout the game all the space that Eze could possibly want to have on the edge of the D. I mean, it couldn't have been more defensive in its structure, yet it was still wide open. How does that happen in a Thomas Frank model of system, who's supposed to be someone who's well versed in the art of adaptability and unpredictability with his tactics?
Well, I've been pushing for a back three because I feel that with Danso and I would have thought Poro and Udogie as wing backs, there's your five. It's quite, it's 5 players that slot into, round pegs in round holes. So, when you attack, you've got your 3, you've got your wing backs who push, and when you defend, your wing backs drop in as drop back level with, and you play as a back 5. That's how I've always looked on it. I felt that yesterday, I do agree with Stel. I thought, listen, Arsenal could have been one up within a minute when the guy shot point blank at Vicario. The next half an hour, Sean, listen, we were poor. We just kicked the ball up and nobody could hold the ball and the ball just came straight back. But we did defend it well for half an hour before the floodgates opened. How did I feel about the lineup? Odebear showed that although he's improving, that was levels above where he needed, where he's at the moment. Richie, he played because he was fit, and Mwani, health-wise was a risk, fitness-wise was a risk with the mask. So, he didn't really want to play him, did he? But he had him on the bench. For me, the performance was shameful. For me, you go out there and
do you put it down to the players, not for some reason not caring, or do you put it down to the Thomas Frank's is his style just uninspiring? Is he not the sort of guy that's going to motivate? There has to be some dislocation between what's being on the training ground and what we're seeing, because it can't surely be 95% of this week when they had the team together. Let's just defend like beavers, and every time we get the ball back, just hoof it clear.
No, if you can't. What bothered me was the lack of effort from the players. When Marino chipped the ball over for Trossard to run on for the first goal, I think Kudus and Richie were standing close by, didn't even bother closing down. You looked at all the goals. The goals
And
came
what about the ball through the middle? How are you blaming
goals-
Richarlison for Richarlison for that?
Marie, listen. That's where it started. Trossard made the run.
He's got 7 defenders, Lou.
Trossard made the run. Danso didn't go with him, and then he got a bit of luck because his shot was going straight at the car.
I told you Danzo's crap. I said it.
But
I told you always crap.
But the whole thing, we were wide open in the middle. All the goals were central. None of them were like winger down the left, Saka putting it in, someone coming in late and scoring. It wasn't like that at all. It was, it was through the middle. I just thought two things I just want to say about yesterday. Number one, it's worrying if Frank can't get the players up. He can't inspire them in the dressing room. That's a concern. I think the bigger concern also for me is that if you're a player and you put that shirt on, and you got that badge on your shirt, you go out and you fucking fight, and you give 100%. Doesn't matter what the score is, you go out and give 100%. And those players didn't. Thought apart from Paulinho in terms of his defending for parts of the game, I thought Vicario again kept the score. I don't know if respectable is the right word, but from being a total thrashing.
Lubo, they did in the cup final. Last year they did in the cup final. They gave everything they had.
Yeah, there was nothing. There was
self-motivation. If you can't get motivated for
I don't get it. I don't get it.
They did when they went to the Emirates last time.
Yeah, I don't know if the players want to play this football. I was talking about this morning. Like, I don't think any player wants to play, kamikaze football, because it's painful getting sucked open all the time. And I don't think any player wants to play football like this. I think that Xavi Simons is jogging around because Xavi Simons looks at his move to Tottenham right now and is thinking, what the fuck did I do coming here 100%. to play in this system? And then every time I play, I'm getting stinker and hooked in the mind of the manager when the manager isn't allowing any of the players around me to support me. And you know what the more scary thing is that we've got a January transfer window coming up where we're going to be trying to convince attacking players to come to Tottenham. And they're looking at the XG against Arsenal and going, and against Chelsea and going 0.05 XG. And the manager still sets the team up every week the same way. Why would I want to come here? It's a graveyard for strikers. It's a graveyard it's like, I don't know, a poison pill for a forward player if they think they're going to come here and the manager's going to continue to set up this way. And I know people say he's only doing it because Rome wasn't built on a day and you have to fix the foundations first. That's an assumption that something's going to change. And I don't know what it's based on, because at the start of his tenure, we were playing more attractive, more progressive football than we are now. It's getting worse. It's regressing. And I don't see the signs. And I don't know why there's this assumption that it's going to move. It's going to pivot towards more attractive football, because it was more attractive in his first game than it is in his last.
Sean, players will see what Frank did for Watkins, for Tony, for Vissa. Yes, they will.
No, they won't. They're looking at the club that they're coming to right now. He's not doing it for Tels. He's not doing it for Kudus. He's not doing it for Sibbons. He's not doing it. Our players are regressing, Lubo. They're going backwards. I said this to you so many times.
At the moment, but it's a short period. It's been going back since we came back from the first international window.
This is sorry. This is absolute garbage. What's happened at Tottenham? What's happened at Tottenham is so many fans wanted anybody but Ange. So whoever came in, we've got to jump on this. We've got to back it all the way because it's not Ange. Rather than saying, do you know what? Let's take a step back. Who have we put as manager? What credentials have they got? What have they actually done? Maybe we just need to wait and see what they do. They've got to prove themselves. But everyone's put Frank on a pedestal and went all in on him rather than saying, do you know what? Let's just see where this takes us. For me, and I said it many times on this show, Frank has stopped being Frank. The way we set up against PSG, the way we approached the game against Man City was so good to watch. We were solid defensively, well structured, but the energy in the press, the way we committed to winning that ball and being quick on that transition was so good. That Man City performance got me excited this season. I haven't seen anything near that since in terms of the way we pressed the ball. The goal we scored yesterday came from a press in midfield. We don't do that anymore because for some reason, and I don't know why, guys, Frank has stopped being Frank and he's so scared of what the opposition can do. He plays to what they're about
100%.
rather than saying, what can we do? What can we impose on this game to give them some things to think about? And he's just literally become a coward. And I don't know why he's like this because he's not like that. But he's become this. And there's no reason for it. There's no justification for it, guys. And that's why I'm now, you know what? I don't care what he does anymore. Because if it's like this every week, we're wasting our time because he stopped believing in himself. He stopped being who he can be.
So get rid of him now, yeah?
No, yeah, but before we come to that conclusion, let's not jump the gun. Let's carry on.
We're wasting our time. So that is get rid of him.
If he keeps doing this, then what's the point?
You just said we're wasting our time.
If he keeps doing this, if he keeps being a coward and going into games petrified of winning the game because he's scared of losing, then what is the point?
So when you
fans are going to turn on him anyway. Fans will turn on him.
The fans will turn on him, Johnny.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Listen, I've not come on here to defend the indefensible, right? Just make that clear. And Spurs Digest, right? Agendas, right? I thought Ange was shit, right? I don't give a flyer, right? But I'm not going to sit here and defend Thomas Frank, right? For performances like Chelsea and against what we saw against Arsenal. And I'm not going to sit here and hear him go on about bravery, commitment, and all the rest of it and not see any of that in our team, right? Not acceptable, okay? But I do think he needs time. There's a difference. Agenda's got to agenda. No, I'm trying to talk rationally.
That's fine. Just fine, Johnny. Are you seeing any reasons? Like, are you basically, not just you, and anyone that is of the mindset that, you know, he wanted to build the foundation first, fix the defense, you know, finishing 17th last year, 22 defeats, all the things we know and have heard. Are you first of all, do you agree that there has been a regression over the season with our performances?
Yes.
And if you do agree, like you say you do, so on that basis, are you concerned then that you're not seeing the progress? You're not seeing us move away from, you know, fixing the foundations because our defense was really good, but it's getting worse, right?
Well, it was shocking. Hang on, we've gone from shocking to better to regressing, right?
Yeah.
Let's not like, you know.
And at no point
we were better and we slumped to poor again, right? And up until, you know, the Arsenal game, you know, we weren't conceding 4 goals a game, right?
No, but the Monaco game we could have conceded. Chelsea game we could have conceded far more.
Bodo Glimt.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not sitting here defending it, but what I would say to you is, I think that, you know, I believe he's looking at that squad and a large proportion of that squad and thinking, I can't do anything with them. I can't do anything with them. I don't believe he's happy with what he's got right now. I mean, why isn't Brennan Johnson playing hardly at all, right? Why is Xavi Simons not getting the minutes? Xavi Simons himself said this is the toughest period in his career where his form is not there and he needs to improve. He didn't say the team needs to improve or the tactics are no good or whatever. He called out his own game, right? And
I respect that, but that doesn't necessarily mean in his mind that he's not happy with.
Correct.
If you're Xavi Simons and you've got a bit of a cockiness, right? Because he said himself he was bought into this club because Thomas Frank sort of, I don't know, for want of a different word, criticised or found weaknesses in his game, whereas every other manager blows smoke up his ass, right?
Correct.
And when he comes here, most people, I think, I don't know, tell me if you guys disagree and tell me in the chat if you agree or disagree as well. But most people, I think, would sit there and say that the team is so focused on not losing. It's so focused on the defensive side of the game that if you are an attacking player that's dealt the responsibility of being the creator in chief, which most tens are, like, I think you're being hung out to dry by this tactic. And then when you're hooked after 65 minutes, And even the fans are sitting there. They booed the decision to sub him off at the last home game, right?
But do you not think he has any responsibility? I hear what you're saying.
Of course, he needs to be better. Of course, 100%. But if I'm Xavi Simons right now, I'm sitting there thinking, like, I feel like I'm probably getting into victim mentality, and I think there's a justification for it. I feel like he's not getting the service. He's not getting any of the support from the team around him, the midfielders around him. Yes, we haven't got good enough players on the left-hand side for him or up at the top. And we're going to speak about Richarlison, by the way, in a minute, because his stats are actually surprisingly good. But generally speaking, like the setup and the design of
the system. Is he a victim, Sean? More, I think Papa Sarr is more of a victim.
Yeah, you can make that argument too. Yes,
personally, because I think
make that argument. Go for it.
I think Papa Sarr has shown enough in the early part of the season to warrant still be. I know he's had the
he was played in the more advanced of the three, right?
Yeah,
because he was pressing from the front.
Yeah, and I wonder whether or not he was the sacrificial lamb when Xavi came in, and they decided that he's the guy that had to make way. And
fair point.
I think our game has gone down because of that. I think Xavi Simons, he over-elaborates, overplays. Look, I could look at all these players, right? I think Kudus has regressed. I don't think Kudus... I think I've said this before, even when he was playing well, overplays the ball, right? Doesn't look up. Or he seems to be just, I need to beat players. No, mate, you should be looking to get the ball in the box, whip balls into the box. I don't think his game has progressed. I don't think Xavi Simons' game has progressed. I think Odegaard and probably Mickey van der Ven have been the two.
They're the only two.
Yeah, are the only two thus far. But as for Xavi Simons being the victim of Thomas Frank, I don't absolutely buy into it, because there have been many moments in various games where he's had chances and he's overplayed it, or he's just not done. He's not playing with confidence. I think we can clearly all see that. He's not playing with confidence, and we all know what confidence does to players. Look at Ollie Watkins, can't score a goal for love nor money. I mean, there's plenty of players.
Johnny, when I look at Spurs, okay, just from my coaching head, the two things I see that are fundamentally killing us right now. First of all, is we've just stopped pressing the game. The way we were squeezing the game, teams just didn't like it. I cannot understand why he stopped doing that. You don't have to have good players to press well. You don't need technically gifted players to squeeze the game.
Right? Sunderland proved that on last week.
And I've used Sunderland as an example of, look what you can do if you've just got the right work ethic and you're set up to do it. We've stopped doing it. This is by design. He has stopped us from doing it, and I don't know why Frank has done it. It doesn't make sense. The second thing that I look at, and I see it week in, week out, our passing and possession as a team is diabolical. It is woeful when we try and move that ball. And when I look at it, what I'm seeing is this. When Ange was here, it was pass. Don't worry about defending. Just ignore the defensive side of the game. And we got cut open, big gaps, players putting out fires because we just didn't work on defending. What I'm seeing with Frank now is just defend. Don't worry too much about passing and just try and get it up there to someone. And then the passing's poor because just like we weren't doing enough defensive drills, I can see we are not doing enough passing drills to maintain a certain standard of passing, because practice, repetition is what keeps you at the level you're at. And as a result, there are no patterns of play in the transition into attack. I can't understand the idea of how we're going to attack because I don't see it. And I can tell it's because we're not working on it very much. We're working a lot more on defensive play and just let's hope someone up there does something.
Still,
I don't know if he's doing that either. Unless he did it at Brentford. And the reason he got away with it at Brentford is because he had really good players up front. I don't know.
Just talking as I see it,
our passing is awful, though. Awful.
The passing is dreadful, and we're not talking about Hollywood balls. We're talking about general, simple 10, 15, 20-yard passes.
Yeah.
It's appalling. It's absolutely appalling. The only person who tries to play through the lines is Romero. Nobody else does. And it's a massive problem. And for losing possession, we are the worst, I think, in the Premier League. So
this is horrendous. This one here is horrendous, right? Passed into the final third, 43% conversion, 23 out of 53 passed into the final third. If you can't complete more than 50% of your passes into the final third, what hope do you have?
Two touches in their box in their first half. Can I just say that Idris Gueye got sent off after 13 minutes for slapping his own teammate, Michael Keane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and yet, Everton. You know what? I'm watching it. You know what I saw? As soon as I saw that, I saw the Everton coaches rally the players and say, "We need more from you now. You're all going to have to step up." And they're 1-0 up.
Yeah,
and they're holding on nicely.
Slapping your own player.
Yeah, ridiculous. But not sure what was said. Right? Who knows what was said?
That's what happened with Kieran Dyer and who was the guy? And Lee Bowyer.
Yeah. But they had a proper punch up on the pitch, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. They had a punch up.
Do you know what, Sean? Some of those passing stats are partly down to how we're set up as well. For example, we're trying to pass it out from the back yesterday with no midfielders. Like who are you planning to pass the ball to? Up front, we want to create passes in the final third. You're playing without a number 10. You don't have a number 10 on the pitch. How are you planning to do it? And this is what I mean by I don't understand.
Well, that's what I think. I think Odebear. I don't know what position Odebear was yesterday still, because in the first 20 minutes I saw him more centrally than I did out wide. I don't really remember. It's an Odebear had a stinker, but again, I put that down to for me, it's the same recipe. Like I think that whoever's playing in that role that's responsible for trying to create things when Arsenal or when any team when we do win the ball back and we're trying to progress it quickly, you have to remember, right, that the ball travels faster than the man. And when we give the ball to like Kudus, who tries to take a man on and tries to do everything himself, he's got the ball at his feet, which allows all of the progressed opposition to get back and reorganise before we can do anything with it. On those stats thing there yesterday, we had 7 crosses, not one of them successful. Like 18 of 55 long balls, i.e. clearances, were completed. I actually surprised at the fact we actually got 55 clearances in a game. That's a clearance every 45, every 30 seconds, every 28 seconds or something. Every 28 seconds, we're clearing the ball long. What are we doing?
I just can't accept after what happened against Chelsea, you would dare do that again. That you would dare go into a game with that mindset again. And do you know what? I don't want to hear any more apologies from players. Vicario repeated the same speech he said after Chelsea. The word sorry has no meaning to it anymore with these players. We're sorry. No, you're not. You're not sorry because you say it too often. You keep saying sorry, it's because you don't mean it. You know?
They just don't care enough. They don't care enough. For players to turn in performances like that, they don't care enough. Now, for me, it doesn't matter.
What the worst part about it is, right? Thomas Frank says that he's all about joules and work rate, right? We lost. I think we lost 60% of our joules yesterday. So if that's the one area of our game that we're supposed to be working on, and we still get battered. And let's be honest, I know Declan Rice is a baller, and he really is. But Zubamendi's not a monster. He's a very good player. He's a technically fantastic player, but he's not exactly built like a brick shithouse. Like Pelini is bigger than him. Bentancur's a bigger geezer than Zubamendi, right? Like, you know, and Zubamendi won most of his joules. So I think that we're playing a little bit scared, and this is the question I wanted to ask you guys is, like I mentioned this morning on the Spurs Talk Show. Do you guys think that there's any chance that the players are a representation of the energy and the mannerisms and the kind of like the personality of the manager? Like you look at Arsenal and then you see what Arteta does on the touchline. It pisses us all off, but he kicks every ball for the team. He's in the faces of the referees, the fourth official, and I feel like Arsenal play with that same sort of energy. Thomas Frank is just a bit more subdued, isn't he? He's sitting there on his tactical board and all that stuff with Cochrane taking notes like a secretary.
He did lose it though, Sean. He did lose it. There was a moment in that first half where he rushed out of his dugout and he was going absolutely mental. But you're 100% right. But look, the dark arts, right? They're on another level. When we scored that goal and the momentum changed for that brief moment, right? Where yes, it was a freak goal. He came out of nothing, but games can change on that, right? I'm not saying we would have ever gone on to win the game or get anything back, but what you saw was the second we scored that goal, and they could see the Spurs fans were up. The players suddenly believe, oh, maybe something could happen now, right? They went to just touching the player. They were down on the ground. They were rolling around. They were screaming for every challenge, right? They were going down in injury. They went down on the ground. Did you see the thing when one of them went down on the ground and he got up, but the two kit men, the medical guys, ran across the pitch one after the other, right, to delay the game again, right? And then they were fucking around with the free kick, breaking momentum. All of these little things which seem like nothing are everything. It's the detail. Every single thing, being in the ref's face, appealing for every throw-in, diving. I mean, some of the touches, just touching them on the back like that, they were down on that ground.
Michael Oliver gave everything. I mean, Saka like took advantage of all that stuff. The entire
everything. And
the guy's rolling around the ground, and as soon as Romero got booked, the guy gets up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's look.
Oliver's poor. He's the most overrated referee I can absolutely.
He hates us.
He is dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
He hates us.
He gave everything he could to Saka in that first 10 minutes, or first half an hour.
That tackle on Van der Ven. How high?
He got nothing.
It's not why we got battered, though, is it? Though.
No, it's not. No, but
it's
listen,
not why we got battered.
Point here,
we're making a big deal about it.
We're not saying it. We're not saying it influenced the game. But what I'm saying is, another time, Stel, you take Van der Ven out that high, you refer it to VAR for violent play.
That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is
slowing down the game, running down the clock,
of experience, playing the game, using the game, knowing how to look. He was never. Do you know how many times he was never in his box? There was one moment where he was actually in Thomas Frank's box. Right, we went to take a throw in, and he's blocking the path. Right, this is them. They're in the. They know every trick in the book, and they practice it. They practice it morning, noon, and night. Right, and these little things that we think are insignificant make the difference.
But we allowed that. We allowed it by not getting in their faces. We allowed it by not pushing back. But I go back to what I said earlier. We were set up not to push back. We were set up just to consume this. Just take it all. Take it all. Take it all.
Let me take some super chats, guys.
Sean, Jordan is right. Vicario was wasting time from very early on.
Listen, I actually am getting a little bit annoyed with the way that we, whenever we do win a free kick, the amount of time that it takes for us to set up throw-ins and all that stuff as well. It breaks the momentum. I used to get so annoyed when Newcastle last season would get a 1-0 lead and then would just chew up the time on the clock because they were taking advantage of the fact they were in front. We're chasing a game and it still takes us a minute and a half to get set up for a free kick or a throw-in. It drives me up the wall like that.
Sean. We were all joking, Sean. Oh, look at him. He's protecting the 3-1 defeat. I mean, it was
absolute madness. Absolute madness.
Vicario has got very poor